Hello, Sondra. Welcome to your small business podcast. How are you this Saturday morning? Well, no, it's evening. It's 3:35. How are you today?
I am great. Yeah, it's in the afternoon, Janice, I think. So yeah, I'm good. I'm having a good day.
That's great. And what city are you located in? Because we're in different time zones. I'm in Central. I think you're in East. Are you in Eastern?
Yes, I'm in Eastern. I am in Ann Arbor, Michigan, so I'm
All
Eastern time
right.
zone. So yep.
Michigan. Okay. So, of course, I love to start with my icebreaker questions. Your question is, if you can give a one sentence advice about how to live life, what would it be?
I'm gonna I'm not gonna be original and be cliche, and I'm gonna say live life without regret. I mean, there's just you never know. So live your life with no regret.
I think the cliche ones are always good, though. Like
Right, they're
they
cliche
might
for
be
a
cliche,
reason,
but
right. I had to think about I was just like, "I'm not even gonna try to pretend." But yeah, just don't I've I've watched too many people, live a sheltered life and be gone way too
mm,
soon, um, and I've made decisions I'd wish I'm like, "Why did I wait so long?" So, yeah, just don't wait, like, live life to its fullest, you know, um, I'm more guarded, so I don't live wildly by any means, but, take chances and take risks because you never know. So, for
that's
sure.
that's a good sentence. And very true. So you are the owner of Get It Done Coaching and VA services. Tell us about your business and the inspiration of how you got started with it.
I got started as a virtual assistant to a friend who needed help. He was starting he worked full-time, was a father, had one business, and was starting another business, and just wasn't able to do all of the back end things, all those admin things that go along with that, and social media and all that stuff. So I started out as a VA with him, just to help him out. And then it just kept growing into more and more things that I liked doing, and I liked helping, and I liked doing it. I was doing it part time. I worked for the state of Michigan at the time, so I was gone 12 hours a day, 5 days a week. So it was very, very part time around my schedule, which made it nice because it was flexible.
Mhm.
And he was a good friend, so like he didn't have like high expectations of get it done in a certain amount of time, or if it had to be pieced together to get things done. So I did that for about a year, and then I took a virtual assistant course, mom's work hard course, and I just kept learning more and more VA skills. And then he ended up moving out of state, so and decided to become a full-time entrepreneur and to start um, a third business at the time.
Wow.
So he relocated his family and became an entrepreneur, and I was doing VA work for him while he was in a different while we were in different locations, so full virtual. And and then I took the VA courses, and then um, life or my oldest got married, so I took a pause, came back, all those things that you get to do. Um, and what That's kind of what inspired me to start my business. And then what I do at Get It Done Coaching and VA Services, I'm a goal accountability coach, um, that helps people go from dreams to goals to custom action plans to achieving their goals. So, and it's I have a process for that. And then the virtual assistant side is to help people with the getting it done part. So if it's in my wheelhouse, I help you get it done. If not, we figure out how to outsource it or barter or get creative with how we get it done. So that's just a little snapshot of how I got started.
That is awesome. Of course, it's a very high demand job you have now, business you have now, I'm sure, with the VAs, with I want to say everyone has the entrepreneur bug, including myself. Been having it for years now. And with that and being online, VAs is necessary. I think I've said a few times in a couple other interviews, I'm getting to where I need a VA. I do one. I do need one. But I see the need for it. And I'm sure that's a booming business for you. as that VA. Do you have any VAs under you, or is it just you that do it?
I just me. It's really funny
Okay.
because somebody approached me the other day if I wanted to train VAs. I said, I'm not quite to that point where I want to train VAs. Um, I definitely want to keep learning about other VAs and their specialties and get to know them so I can refer people to them. And I've been doing coffee chats for about 6 months now to like expand my network and get to know people. So I have references and referrals set up, because that is one thing I do as a accountability coach is help people figure out what they need to outsource. What
Mhm.
do they need a VA? Do they need a systems person? Do they need, what type of VA do they need? There's so many, there's hundreds of jobs that VAs can do. And
Wow.
so that is one thing as a coach that I do help people figure out is how to outsource, and how to get creative with that because it's not always a money investment. It can be barters. There's so many ways you can do it and be creative with that. But yeah, I also believe that people need that you're not a one person team. I mean, you can be to start, but
Yeah.
eventually if you want to grow, um, I'm not a one person team. I have, a social media manager. I have a Pinterest manager. Like I have people on my team. I just don't have any actual VAs under me. So that's the only thing I don't have under me. I have a business coach, like all that stuff. I'm not a one person
Okay,
business.
okay.
So
Yeah, because these days, yeah, like you said, once you get started, sure, you can do it. But then once you start getting bigger, which is the whole point, you want to be able to need help.
exactly,
That's what I think.
exactly.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So let's dive in on one of your subjects, that you have years of expertise in, which is the accountability, to help with mindset and motivation. Expand on that insight, accountability that will help with mindset and motivation.
Okay, so accountability, and the reason I am very, very passionate about accountability, for one, it's scientifically proven that you're 75% more likely to reach a goal if you have accountability.
Mhm.
And accountability can come in literally hundreds of forms and formats. But as far as the mindset and the motivation part, um, yes, it comes back to the work that you're doing personally, but we're all motivated by something, whether it's money, people, time,
Mhm.
freedom, or something. And a lot of that has to do with um, others, whether it's your family, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your business partner, whether it's your, grandparents or whatever. You're wanting to impress, yes, you're wanting to impress people. You're wanting to show them that you can do it, that you have that talent, that you have that strength. Um, you know, Motivation can be bad. Somebody told you you couldn't do it, so you're gonna prove them wrong. You
Yeah.
definitely can use that as motivation and mindset. So the accountability piece of that is just you telling people that you want to accomplish this. I always use my kids as an example. They ain't gonna let you forget. Trust me. I have a 13-year-old mini me, and she has no problem using my own advice that I give other people
Yeah.
against me, in her most loving way, 13-year-old way. So she, it's funny because I do a lot of brain dumping and task organizing for other people, and she will get on me on the weekends when I'm just like frazzled or whatever. She's like, Mom,
Mhm.
like, what would you tell your client? I would tell my client to stop and brain dump. And she's like, okay, so let's do that. Or she'd be like, okay, Mom, a piece of paper, just blabber it out so that we can get it all written down and then I can figure out what I can do, you can do, and what, Dad can do, so we can get it all done. So and then there's that accountability piece because, she knows what's expected, of not only myself, but like what I want to accomplish over the weekend. So how she can help and where she can hold me accountable to get stuff done. And they can hold each other accountable to get things done. She'd be like, hey, Dad, pick 3 things off this list. I picked 3. Mom's doing these 3. So we can knock it out. We're not a one
Wow.
person team, like we said. So yeah, just that accountability piece. I've used it. Um, when I started my health journey 8 years ago, I did not do the mindset piece first. um, I did the nutrition and the fitness and just the frustration part and wasn't doing personal development until almost a year in probably 6 months, 9 months in before I was finally like, everybody's just like 80% nutrition, 20% fitness, 100% mindset. And I'm just like, rah, 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 negative, negative. Come to find out later and years later, the coaching team did not like me because I was a negative nanny when I started. And they're
Oh,
just like,
wow.
you were not fun to be. Now we're best friends. I'm their aunt to their kids, their aunties
Mm,
to my kids. They live in different states now, and I'm still super, super involved with their families. Um, but it really took me a bit to like really get into that you need a growth mindset to
mm,
and accountability. There is definitely a mindset part to that, and if you don't have a growth mindset or a positive mindset, you're going to struggle with the accountability part because you're you get stuck in that negative cycle of I can't do it or it doesn't matter. I don't care
mhm.
what so and so thinks or oh yeah, I paid her money, she didn't do it for me. Well, you didn't do XYZ either. So
Right.
this really plays into that. So yeah, that's where that mindset was. So yeah, it was about 9 months before I actually dived into the mindset piece at the and then I've been using growth mindset ever since. And I was able to, in the first 2 years, I was able to lose over 100 pounds. So
Wow, that's
I
amazing.
um, I can't say I've fully kept it off. I've definitely had my challenges, my roller coaster moments and ups and downs, but I'm definitely way in a different mindset and growth mindset now than I was 8 years ago when I started, where everything was just I it's funny, Facebook memories can be a great reminder of where you came from and
Yeah,
what
yeah.
I used to gripe about. Like all my posts were super negative back then. Like the kids are annoying, the dog's annoying, the cat's annoying, rah, 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 I hate my job, blah, 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 and all that stuff. And I'm just like, man, why would people want to read my stuff? Because it's like, and then you can see a shift because then it was positive quotes. And don't get me wrong, I still have my bad moments, but like you can tell when it flipped because pretty much 80% of my posts were more growth mindset, positive personal
Mm.
development, my struggles with that part, versus just a flat out negative having a tantrum on social media
Wow, yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So
I see a lot of those.
right. So yeah, I was reading the other day. I was just like, I don't even want to scroll back to like 8, 9 years ago because that's when it was negative. I do because there's kids' pictures and all those fun things are still there too. So, but yeah, I definitely cringe sometimes when I read some of my posts. I'm like, man,
And
I
that's
was,
really
I
good
was
that you can look back and see that and see your progress. Like
right,
you've done excellent the last few years of turning it all around.
right. So I do like that. Yeah, the Facebook memories. I have a love-hate relationship sometimes with them, but that I did notice that the other day. I was like, oh, you can tell where the light bulb switched because like here's 3 posts and then here's a positive quote and then
Mhm.
after that X, Y, and Z is better.
Yeah,
So,
see that progress. I think too with accountability, if you are holding yourself accountable for, getting things done and marking stuff off your list or starting your business or whatever it may be, that when you see yourself do that, that actually plays into your mindset and motivation and keeps you going. So the accountability really is hand in hand with mindset and motivation when you look at it that way.
yes, for sure, for sure,
Yes.
for sure.
So what would you say to someone that never reaches their goals? And you got some people who never reach their goals, they never hold themselves accountable, but they keep saying like I'm gonna do this or I'm gonna do that. Would you say that it's safe to say that they just really don't want it?
Um, First off, I would never say that to somebody that they don't want it. I would ask why. Why are they not doing X, Y, or Z? What is it their mindset? Is it an outside thing? So um, maybe there's an environmental thing that's stopping them from doing X, Y, and Z.
Hmm.
Or is it an internal thing? Is it their negative mindset? Um, Yes, it's all about your work and what you do to show for it. I mean, yes, there's gonna be some things I can do for you, but in the end of the day, it's still you holding you accountable.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, is their why not strong enough to do it? And I've definitely been there yeah, my why wasn't strong enough to turn the cookie down or the cupcake down
Hmm.
or, spend an hour on emails writing, which I don't care to do and scroll
Yeah.
social media instead, you know? So, um, it really goes back to that why and the mindset around that. Like, if you're not motivated to do it, um, if you don't really want it, we see stories all the time, and I know of stories of all the time, where people lived on the streets and now I know somebody that's a real estate mongrel now, and she
Mhm.
had her baby under a bridge, her first one.
Right.
And now she's spoken at the White House, so
Mhm.
it's really about what is your why? What are you willing to do? Um, yeah, I think it would go back to more of like, why did they want to do it in the first place? And like, was it something somebody told them to do and they just didn't really want to do it? Because that's a lot of times what I'll get. I'll be like, okay, so if you don't want to do it, why are you doing it? Well, because X, Y, and Z. Okay,
Mm.
great. So Tony Robinson said to do it this way, which is great. I love Tony Robinson, but
Yeah.
it might not be the way for you to do it. So
Right.
maybe we need to look at a way for you to do that to get to that goal in a different method. It didn't work for you, obviously, because you didn't do it. So,
Yeah.
is there a different way to get to that goal? Or is it really your goal? Is it somebody else's goal? I've had my oldest tell me, well, Mom, aren't I supposed to go to school? No, if you really don't want to go to school and you want to do something different, I'm 100%. She graduated
Mhm.
from college and she's like, well, do I have to go to get my master's? And I'm like, no, who said you had to go get your master's just
Yeah.
because, she has her college degree in psychology? And she's like, well, I really can't do X, Y, and Z. I'm like, well, if you want to do X, Y, and Z, then yeah, you gotta go get your master's. I'm like, but do you really want to do that? She goes, no, I want to work in autism centers and be a mom. Like, I don't want to be a psychologist. I'm like, so
Then
don't
don't.
go to school and rack up debt and be miserable
Mhm.
because you think you have to do this because whoever in your head. And somehow she thought I said that. And I said, did I ever say that? She goes, no, you never really said it. I just thought you did. I'm like, I would have never told you that you have to um, do that. I mean, she graduated college in 3.5 years. She worked her butt off to do
Wow.
it. So is she capable of doing it? Yeah. But does she want it? No. And she still, I mean, now she has a baby or a 1.5-year-old, and they've relocated and moved states, and I'm super proud of her. And she loves the work she does with the autism community. But
Yeah.
you don't have to have your master's to do that. Yes, you
No.
can if you want, depending on if you want to go up the chain of command and you want to be a manager and da da da. Yeah, you have to have that schooling. But that's not what she wants to do. She wants to work directly with children. So to do that, where she's at and with her degree in trainings, she can do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really getting behind that why. And, is it really their goal or is it somebody else's goal? Or they want, I love my creative ADHD clientele that they get that shiny syndrome of like, here's the next big
Mm.
deal,
Yes.
so it's like their 100th idea. And it's like, okay, but what happened to 99 ideas? Well, I didn't want it, or that was somebody else's idea and I didn't want it. So I do work with a lot of them. We really have to get to the root of, is it your dream or somebody else's dream? Why is it your dream? What's the mindset around that before we can even create the goal and action plan? Because if it really isn't yours, you're not going to do the work.
No.
You
Definitely
might for
not.
a minute to impress somebody or to get fast money, whatever the heck that is. Um,
Mhm. Yeah.
but in the end, it's going to catch up with you eventually, and um, you're going to be miserable. People are going to be miserable around you, and you wasted my time, your time, and
Mhm.
time is money. So yeah, that's the long short answer to that question.
Yeah, but basically, there's a reason why that they don't want it. Because you got some people that will say, "Oh, I'm going to do this, and I can't wait," but then they just don't do it. They don't hold themselves accountable. They don't move forward. And it's just like, "But what's wrong with you? I thought you were going to have this store out here, but you ain't did nothing." Well, yeah, it's always a something deep rooted. A lot of times that people don't realize. A
It's
lot of people will look at you like, "Oh, you're just a F up, or you're lazy." No, it's something totally different than what you're
It's totally
thinking.
different. It's totally
Hmm.
different. And you don't know anybody's internal battles until you actually ask about those internal battles. As a women's group this morning, we were talking about internal battles, and I was like, eek, I still have them. There's layers to them. There's always something somebody's dealing with, whether you know about it or not, whether it's not public
Hmm.
or whatever it is. So asking those questions in a nice, and I always come from a positive mindset, cheerleader mindset of getting to that. Not a psychiatrist by any means. I do have a social work background degree, but yeah, just a little bit of a dive even to like understand so that you can help them better. Some people like being a hot mess because that's what's got them attention all their life. So
Yeah.
I met somebody the other day and I was like, oh boy. And then at the end, I was like, are you really willing to have coaching? Like, are you really willing to take advice? Because like, I can't work with you if you're not um, willing to do the coaching part. You have to be coachable. And
Yes.
she just looked at me and I was like, think about that before, like, I'll give you all the information, but I wasn't real sure like, I wasn't 100% positive that that was where she needed to be. Like, there needed to be some other things handled before she
Right,
got coaching.
right.
Because I was like, I'm not gonna take on um, I've taken on hot messes and it's just an uphill battle. So I'd
Mhm.
rather, you have to be coachable. And there was a period where I didn't work with men for a while because I got burnt out with a couple of gentlemen who weren't coachable. They just wanted somebody to do the work. They didn't want somebody to coach them. And I'm like, okay, but you hired me as a coach. So I'm
Right.
like, okay, like I'll just work with women. I won't work with men. And then I reframed myself. My mindset around that grew and I got out of that, two bad experiences doesn't, can't bunch everybody together.
That's what I was
Um,
going to ask you if you ever had anybody that was uncoachable. When you find someone who is uncoachable, do you refer them to somebody else or some other different kind of assistance they might need
yeah,
before they?
um, yeah, I try to figure out what would be, because I don't write business plans per se. So I don't say a business coach. Like if you go get a business plan from somebody, I'll help you break it down into action steps and hold you accountable to it. I'm not a social media strategist or any of those things. So yeah, I'm going to refer you to those type of people, and I have a list of resources for that. Um, if you're having major mental health issues, that's not my domain. I have mental health therapists on my resource list. I just connected somebody Thursday. Like I'm like, this is past what my comfort level. And I was just checking in on somebody. I wasn't even going. It wasn't even coaching. It was just checking on somebody in a community that I was in. I was like, they haven't been around a while. Let me check on them. And sure enough, they needed some help. And
Mhm.
I was glad to connect them. Um, but yeah, if I can't do that, yes, I definitely refer people. And then coaching is a relationship. There's trust that has to be built. So I
Mhm.
always recommend 90 days. And a lot of people cringe with that, da da da. But it takes a while to get to know somebody
It
because
does.
even though I come from a positive mindset, I want to get to know your strengths and weaknesses, your zone of genius, um, all those things, your lane. And it takes time to do that. You can't really do that in one session. One 90-minute session isn't going to do that. So I prefer working with people 90 days, weekly if possible, so that we can get to know that. And then once I get to know you, then I can be like, hey, that 100th idea, maybe that's not such a good idea right now. Like, let's think about like the last 3 weeks or, the last 2 months. You had X, Y, and Z happen and that didn't go well. We've been tweaking the plan. So why are we adding that? And I tell a story of a woman with twins, and she was single momming it at the time because her and her husband were in two different countries at the moment.
Wow.
And she had three businesses and she wanted to go back to school. And
Ooh.
it's not that I'm against going back to school in any way, shape, or form, but these girls were in school, they were in sport, they were in clubs and sports and all that lovely
Mhm.
mom stuff that you got to do after their. So yeah, she had the 6, 7 hours they were at school, but you had three businesses, two of them were international. Like I was
Wow.
like, that's great that you want one class. Why can't I take one class? I'm like, I'm not saying you can't take class. So the test was open up your calendar and show me 5 hours. I said 3 hours, or the class was 2 hours and 3 hours to study. Like that would be what a college
Mm.
professor tell you. She just laughed at me. She goes, never mind. You
That's so
She
funny.
knew
She's like, yeah.
she knew she didn't have 5 hours in her week to go take
Wow.
the class. And I was like, "You wanna," yeah, I'm like, "So let's put it on," I call it the parking lot. "Let's put it in the parking lot list for down the road. Maybe this summer when the kids are, not as busy or, X, Y, or Z happens, or when your husband, because he eventually was gonna join her, when he joins you, like
Wow.
Put it in the parking lot for later. Like, I'm definitely not against furthering your education if you wanna, but, like, you also burning I find, us moms like to burn the candle at both ends, including
Yes.
myself.
Hmm.
So, what was the reason to add more stress, 5 hours of stress a week
Yeah.
to your life? And she just really didn't have a really good reason for it. So, but I always laugh because, she didn't even open the calendar. Like, she already knew. She already knew that there was no
No way at
wiggle
all.
room to do, you know, um, you know, to do that and still show up for her kids. And that was one of the reasons she had her entrepreneurships, was so she could go to the kids' events and all these things that she wanted
Right.
to do. So I was like, I had to sacrifice some time somewhere, and where's that time coming from? So it was like, no, no, thank you.
Yeah, can't do that. You gotta sleep sometimes. So
But she was really big into her health and her walks and her yoga and which she should be. So, because I don't work just with business goals, I work with personal goals. So I knew her personal goals, and personal goal was her health, her mental health, her physical health.
Mhm.
So no, adding that 5 hours of deprivation of sleep and stress was not
Yeah.
going to fit on that plate. And she always laughs at me when I just tell people I tell that story.
Oh
Um,
my goodness. Yeah, that's definite. It's like an eye opener. It's very commendable that she wanted to do that, but it's like you don't have the time. There's no possible way.
Right, right. I was like, if you wanna build it later in the when there's different season of your life, then great and dandy, but yeah, not right now.
Not
So,
right now.
not right now. Be smart.
Gosh. Now, there was a time that you mentioned that you had to hold yourself accountable because you have five kids and two bonus children. So, how did you accomplish that with all of that going on? And you knew you had to make a turn for yourself. How did you accomplish that?
Um, well, a couple of different times in my life for sure. When um I have 2 kids, he has 2 kids, and then we have 1 child together. And then my eldest is married, and my biological son is engaged. So those are my 2 bonus. And then I have a amazing grandson. Um,
Mm,
so, let me see. Let me use I'll use the, reaching that 100th pound, like that time.
mhm,
Um, my kids were still all in the home when I was doing my initial, weight loss, journey, and me devoting time, like I said, gone 12 hours a day, but still going. I was working out 3 days a week, um, and no, I was working out 4 days a week at the time. 4 days a week, and, going at it hard because, I got to the place where I figured out that, they were my why. So it made it a little bit easier because I could say, "I'm doing this for you because I wanna do X, Y, and Z. I want to, um, be able to play." My kids 2 of my kids were super active, so, like, I wanna be able to practice volleyball or baseball or softball or whatever sport they were in, because it
mhm.
came to a point at my heaviest weight where just playing outside with them was a struggle, or it was, "Get me a chair and I'll sit in a chair while you
Yeah.
throw the ball around." So, I used that as my motivation for the first couple of years, and my youngest was only 4, 5, 5.
Mm.
So, 5-year-olds want, mama to run and play and do all those
Yes.
things. So, she loved the workout. It was a family workout, community, so she became her nickname of junior coach. It's funny because that'll pop up on my memory feed too. Um, so she, fell in love with, the workout community too. So that was good. But yeah, just that I had a health community that was holding me accountable, and I did do challenges and weight loss challenges, and, we started doing 5Ks as a family. So I went from never walking, running, well, we didn't run, walking, those type of things, to doing, I think 1 year we did 3 of them. So as
Mm,
a family, so me and the kids. So, just that accountability that, I needed to keep going because I wanted to, and I had a mom that had health issues from a very, very young age. Like when I was 4 and 5, she was like bedridden sick for a
Oh.
long time, so I had to step up and be a caretaker at an early age in my life, and she died at 61 from
Mm.
heart and kidney failure.
Sorry.
So, she was still around at the time, but at the same time, she was very miserable, very like, I'm watching her struggle and,
Mhm.
um, when she would come to visit or whatever, she wasn't active with the kids, and I just knew that I didn't want, um that for me, that I wanted to be able to be I can chase around my grandson, he wears me out, but, you know, those things that my mom just wasn't able to do with my kids growing up.
Mm.
So, I just used the why for the accountability, and yes, my junior little 5-year-old kept me accountable.
Mhm.
I can remember I was having a rough time and I was having a rough day at work or something, and I'd picked her up, and we were eating a quick bite before somebody's ball game, baseball or something. Because like I said, my kids were really sport, and I really wanted like the cheeseburger and fries at the restaurant or
Mm.
something. And she's just looking at me like, "But mommy, that's not what you're supposed to have." Like she knew, and she goes, "I think we should talk to Coach Joseph. Like we need to talk to Coach
Wow.
Joseph." And I was like, whatever. I'm like, "Here, you call it." And she's like, "Okay, mommy, which one is" she could read, she was 6. So she's like, "Okay, this is the right coach, this is the right person." And I'm like, "Yeah." So she sure as heck calls called my
Wow.
coach on me, grinning like a little Chester cat in the restaurant because she's just like, "Mommy's struggling and mommy needs help, and
Oh,
mommy wants this, and I know that's not what mommy's supposed to have." And, so they're always watching. To this day, she's
you still
13
like
now, so
that?
she has no problem, telling me, like, I just those stories like that just kept motivating me, and the accountability that not only I had with my coaches, but I also had with my family and with my kids, and, um, my mom was one of those that told everybody about my story except for me. So she was one of those
Mm.
people that told everybody about how proud she was, and, like, when
Oh,
she would come to visit, she would meet my coaches, and she'd be like, "I just love how you help her," and yada, 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 and that's just the way she was, but
mm.
just I would find out about it in a roundabout way. "Your mom's so proud of you, how old are you?" And I'm just saying, "Really?"
Well, she hasn't
She
told
said
me
no
that,
yeah,
but
she said
okay.
nothing to me. Um, so that was just the way she rocked, but, so yeah,
Wow.
just knowing that other people were always watching and that I was inspiring others, um, kept me accountable because, yeah, the kids are always watching. I have a post saved from my oldest talking about how I inspired her like 3 or 4
Mm.
years into my journey, and, I can't read it very often because it makes me cry, but
Mm.
that, she knew it was not easy to work 12-hour day, be gone and do their sporting
Yeah.
events, but yet still make sure I was taking care of myself, which meant packing snacks, food prepping, meal planning,
All
being on
that.
top of all those things, getting those workouts in, even though I'd rather come home and crash in front of the TV and
Yes.
all that stuff that you
Yes.
wanna do after a long mental day at work. So yeah, they held me accountable, my health community and my children, which my children were my why. So
Wow, that's amazing. That is amazing. So you did mention the process of brain dumping. Explain this activity and how it can help entrepreneurs.
okay, so it's scientifically proven that your brain is made for processing, not storing. So, um, when you're trying to remember something, that thing on that grocery list that you left the grocery list at home, and you're like, no, there's just that one thing you're supposed to get, and it's usually the milk or the bread or something important,
Mhm.
or that thought at 2 a.m. of like, did you turn off or did you start the coffee maker or you
Yeah.
left the house, did you start and that's because your brain isn't made to store things. Brain is made to process things. So the
Mm.
brain dump, um, I highly recommend at least weekly. In fact, I struggled with doing mine weekly this past week, and it wasn't until almost Thursday before I fully brain dumped it. I was, like, so aggravated with myself because I was like, "This is crazy. I know I need to do this." Um, Brain dumping gets everything out of your head so that you can do things versus think about how you're going to do things. It helps with the planning process. So if you can brain dump everything, and when I mean brain dump, I write everything down from uh, make the vet appointment to schedule dermatologist appointment for my daughter, which is still on my brain dump list, to tell client X, Y, or Z, or tell social media manager this. So I brain dump personal and business. I brain dump all of it. So I do section it out into household, personal, business, admin versus client work because I can do all that.
Hmm.
I have a parking lot, so if it's something that is not dire, like I want to learn X, Y, and Z, but it's definitely not the season to do that. But I'll
Right.
put it in. I call it the parking lot, and I always keep that on the bottom so I can add things to it. Um, you know, I'll put buy Mother's Day cards, or
Yes.
X, Y, and Z's birthday's coming up, or this niece or nephew needs that ordered. So all those little things that it might take you 2 seconds to do, and if you have the 2 seconds, just do it. But a lot of times you don't have that 2 seconds. You're driving, or you're making
Mm.
dinner, or you're helping a child with their lovely homework or virtual school.
Yes.
One more month, one more month, one more month.
Yes.
Um,
We're almost done with that. Yes.
um, she's been a full year virtual, so it's been
Mm.
very um, interesting. She writes hers down
Mhm.
too. She writes all her lessons down in a planner, and she actually brain dumps also.
Very nice.
Um, so then you're able to take that list and organize it in 2 categories like that. And then you can put them on a schedule. So you might have a block of time where you make all your phone calls, or you might have a block of time where you do your admin work, or a block of time for this client or that client, or a block of time for your self-care or your exercise, or
Mm.
um, I do a block of time on Sunday to meal plan for the week. And I do a little bit of prep. I don't do as much prep now that I've been at home, but I still do. There's a few things I still do prep, grab and go snack things, because
Yeah.
if you're in your third meeting in a row for the fourth hour in a row, it's easier to grab a healthy choice if you know what you're going to get. So then you can use the task list to prep, to block your time and know what you need to get done. Or you can the good thing about that is you know what to delegate. So you can
Mm.
delegate um, the yard work to this child, or hubby to go get the groceries, or the hubby to um, you know call so and so, or order. My husband loves Amazon, so all I do is tell him who, what, and an address, and he on it. Um, so, but you can't call a doctor's office to save a soul. But
Isn't that interesting?
yeah, yeah. Don't make him call anything to make an appointment for anybody, because that's not his cup of tea. But I know his strengths and weaknesses, so I know, like, I can get him to buy whatever. Like, he bought his mom's gifts and yada 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 today, so I know that, like, that part, as long as he has an idea of what to get and who it's for, we're golden. But yeah, just don't make him call anything. Don't make him navigate the hold system at a doctor's office, or yeah,
That's so
that's just
funny.
that's not his cup of tea. Um, my 13-year-old, there's certain things she likes. She has her chores, but then there's, like, I know some of the extra things that she likes. She likes things to be organized. So if it's certain
Mhm.
things, she'll do a whole lot easier um, than others. Um, so yeah, that helps you with it. And then if it's all overwhelming, I always tell people to start with 3. Pick 3 things off the list. Do those 3 things
Mhm.
and go back from where if you have time. If not, you schedule those 3 things and you knock 3 things off the list. Um, I know I have I do share my list with my business coach, and she's like, "You've had a couple of things on this list week after week that you're just not accomplishing. So let's do a time block, next week for these items that you keep that aren't
Putting on
high
there.
priority. They're the lower priority stuff. Like just make a label it low priority and do those priority things versus those high medium priority things that you've been
Mhm.
doing that are great. But a few of these admin tasks are important, like recording your expenses and your bookkeeping,
Mhm.
um, things like that um, I know I'm gonna eventually get to it. Or,
But
you know,
when?
yeah,
Yeah.
but when, so, I do have a freebie that's a 4 email series that's for free, and it
Okay.
talks about brain dumping and, I call it the Get It Done Challenge. Um, so yeah, it talks about the science behind it. It talks about how to brain dump and what to do with that list after you get it done. So, that's a free 4
Definitely
email
give me that
series.
link. Yes.
So
Give
that one
me
is
that link where I can share it with everyone,
oh, for sure.
in the show notes. Yes, that'll be great. And I will participate as well in that because I need to do that.
Like I said, I do it weekly. Some people do it daily, and when I say you do it weekly, it doesn't mean don't add to it through the week. I mean, come on, like stuff's going on all the time. And now with and I do mine digital. I do it on a Google Doc. You got a Google Doc everywhere you're at. Like
Mhm.
it's on your phone or Google Keep or Alexis. I know somebody that uses their Alexis. Alexis, add
Oh,
da
really?
da 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 to the list or da da da. So I was just talking about that the other day. I don't have Alexis. My husband doesn't live
I
away.
do. I just listen to music on it. I need to use it for other stuff.
Yeah, I know somebody that's she's ADHD, and that is one way she keeps her brain dump is she just tells
Mm.
Alexis to add it to her brain dump list. Um, she has a little one that just turned 1, and she's like, "That's my brain dump is Alexis. I have Alexis just add it to my brain dump list, and then later I go back and organize it." So that's how she uses Alexa to do that. But you can also do that with a voice memo if you're driving.
Oh,
You can
yeah.
always do a voice memo, or if you're out for a walk or something, you think of something. So you can use technology to brain up. It doesn't have to be this. Now, some people love pen and paper, and that's their thing, or whiteboards. I have somebody that
Mhm.
her whole wall is whiteboards, and she just
Wow.
writes it all out, and then she takes a picture. She has a thing where it translates it into a document that it's
Oh, that's
attached to
cool.
her whiteboard. I can't remember the name of it, but it's attached to her whiteboard, and then she has it's a software though that she has that it'll translate it into a document, and then she takes a document and organizes herself from there. But she likes to write it out on a whiteboard, and that's how she brain dumps. And she also teaches her clients to do that, except for she needed more whiteboards because she has way too many clients and she had to keep erasing. And I was like, I guess that's a good problem to have. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it takes the picture. She's like, yeah, but or post-it notes. I know some people that do a post-it notes, rearrange it 5,000 times, and then take a picture. I had somebody, my newest client, took a picture of her brained up on post-it notes, and now I'm going to put it in her task system. So
Wow.
that's part of her coaching is she did it, and then I got to put it in the system that she's using for tasks. Yeah, I still have to do that.
You need to
Like,
write that down.
it is. It's written down. I'm like, I don't think I ever got that one done. But yeah, and
Got a
there's
brain dump on that one.
right, right. It is definitely on my brain dump. No, it's on her client work. So yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, for
Oh,
sure.
I have so enjoyed our conversation today. It is great. You definitely have to come on again so we can talk about some more tactics on, brain dumping and just different things that you can do to stay organized, hold yourself accountable, all those good things to help people, achieve their goals. It's great.
Right, right. Awesome,
Great, great,
awesome.
great.
Love it, love it.
Well, I so enjoyed you and happy Mother's Day, by the way. Tomorrow is Mother's
Mhm.
Day.
You
I'm sure you have
too.
a big day planned. I do too. I'll be gone all day. It's an all day event tomorrow.
I don't know what I mean, honestly, like, give me my quiet time. I know we're going to in-laws, and they're cooking out. Usually we host, but due to some
Mhm.
situations this year, we're not hosting. So she's hosting, but she's keeping it simple and it's a cookout. It's outside, and we're gonna pray that Michigan weather. Um, yeah, it's supposed to be 55 or 57 or something.
Ooh,
So
I like that. That's nice right there for me.
yeah,
Not too
it's a
hot. It
tad
ain't too
chilly,
chilly.
but
Yeah,
yeah. But it's
and
supposed to be
sunny.
sunny. I think it's not supposed to be. Um, it's supposed to be nice. So yeah, yep.
Oh,
And
great. Well, you enjoy the rest of your day and Mother's Day, and I will talk to you again soon.
I thank you.
Hmm